Welcome back to the channel Valuable Coins History. Today's video, where we explore the fascinating story of the 2005 Australian 20-cent coin featuring Queen Elizabeth II. This coin may look like everyday change, but it carries a rich history, from its iconic platypus design by Stuart Devlin to the regal portrait of Queen Elizabeth II by Ian Rank Broadley. Join me as we uncover the design, significance, and lasting legacy of this remarkable piece of Australian currency. ETs get the sat-heart at top 5. First up, the 2005 Australian 20-cent coin is part of the long-running decimal currency system introduced in 1966. Since then, the 20-cent coin has held an important place in the Australian economy, serving as one of the most commonly used denominations. The coin issued in 2005 continued this legacy, bearing the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse, symbolizing both continuity and tradition. Australia's decision to place Queen Elizabeth II on its coinage stems from its status as a Commonwealth nation. As the head of state, her image represents the connection between Australia and the British monarchy. The 2005 20-cent coin carries her likeness as a reminder of national history and ties to the crown. The obverse of the 2005 coin features the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II designed by Ian Rank Broadley. This particular effigy, first introduced in 1999, became notable for its realism compared to earlier versions. The portrait is larger and bolder, showing the Queen in a mature and dignified state. This marked a shift in how the monarch was depicted on Australian coinage. On the reverse of the coin, the design continues to feature the iconic platypus, a unique Australian animal. The image of the platypus swimming through rippling water was created by Stuart Devlin, the designer responsible for most of the decimal coin designs. The platypus symbolizes Australia's biodiversity and has become one of the most recognizable coin designs in circulation. The 2005 20-cent coin was struck by the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra, which has been responsible for producing all of the country's official coinage since 1965. The Mint not only ensures the supply of circulating coins, but also issues collector's editions, proof sets, and commemorative coins. In terms of specifications, the 2005 20-cent coin is composed of cupronickel, an alloy of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This material was chosen for its durability, resistance to corrosion, and bright silvery appearance. The coin weighs 11.3 grams, has a diameter of 28.65 millimeters, and a thickness of 2.5 millimeters. The edge of the coin is milled, which helps discourage counterfeiting and gives it a distinct tactile feel. These small details contribute to the coin's authenticity and recognition, ensuring it is easily distinguished from other denominations in circulation. While the 2005 20-cent coin is not a rare coin in circulation, it still holds importance for collectors who focus on year sets or coins struck with a Rank Broadley portrait. Collectors often seek uncirculated or proof versions to add to their collections, as these retain their luster and sharp details. The mintage figures for the 2005 20-cent coin reflect its role as a workhorse of the Australian economy. Millions were produced to meet demand, ensuring that the coin remained readily available for daily transactions. This widespread circulation means that most Australians would have encountered it countless times in their lives. However, as with most circulating coins, the value of a 2005 20-cent coin is generally equal to its face value when used in commerce. Only coins in pristine condition, error strikes, or those included in special mint sets may command higher prices among collectors. In 2005, Australia was also issuing several commemorative coins in other denominations, but the 20-cent coin retained its traditional platypus design. This consistency in design adds to its charm, as it has remained unchanged for decades while other denominations have occasionally been updated or commemorated. One interesting aspect for collectors is the proof coin sets of 2005, which included beautifully struck 20-cent coins. These proof versions are highly polished and struck multiple times to bring out sharp details. Such coins are not meant for circulation and remain prized by numismatists. Some collectors also search for errors in 2005 20-cent coins, such as misstrikes off-center designs, or die cracks. These error coins can become significantly more valuable than their face value, depending on their rarity and visual appeal. The presence of Queen Elizabeth II on the coin also makes it historically significant today, especially after her passing in 2022. Coins bearing her image have become symbols of an era, and future generations may look back at coins like the 2005 issue as a snapshot of her long reign. The 20-cent coin design with the platypus is considered one of Stuart Devlin's most successful works. Devlin himself was known as the Royal Goldsmith and designed many of Australia's coinage elements. His platypus design continues to endure as a cultural and national icon. For many Australians, the 20-cent coin of 2005 would not have seemed remarkable at the time. It was a common, everyday object used for parking meters, vending machines, and small purchases. Yet in hindsight, such coins form an important part of numismatic history and tell the story of a nation's monetary system. The coin also reflects broader economic conditions of Australia in 2005, a period of stability and growth. While it may not carry direct, symbolic messages like commemoratives, it represents the ordinary but essential financial backbone of society. For collectors building a complete year set of Australian coins, the 2005 20-cent coin is an essential piece. It contributes to the narrative of coinage continuity, highlighting the seamless blend of tradition and functionality in Australian money. In conclusion, the 2005 Australian 20-cent coin featuring Queen Elizabeth II is more than just small change. It is a durable symbol of national identity, history, and monarchy. From its design by Stuart Devlin to its portrait by Ian Rank Broadley, this coin bridges the past and present, remaining a familiar and trusted piece of currency in Australian pockets and collections alike. Next up, the Australian 20-cent coin bearing Queen Elizabeth II's portrait from the year 1974 is not just a piece of metal. It is a window into the economic, cultural, and numismatic story of Australia in the mid-20th century. Struck in cupronickel alloy, this coin represented the strength of Australia's decimal currency system, which had only been introduced less than a decade earlier in 1966. The obverse of the 1974 20-cent coin features the regal portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Mackin, a talented British sculptor whose effigy appeared on coins of many Commonwealth nations during that era. His design was celebrated for capturing the youthful grace and authority of the Queen, a fitting image for a country that remained deeply connected to the British crown. The reverse of the coin carries the iconic platypus design, created by Stuart Devlin, who was appointed goldsmith and jeweler to Her Majesty. The platypus, one of Australia's most unique native animals, was chosen to symbolize the distinct wildlife heritage of the continent. It became one of the most beloved designs in Australian coinage, instantly recognizable even today. In 1974, the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra produced the coin in large numbers for circulation. At this time, Australia was navigating a complex economic environment shaped by global oil shocks, rising inflation, and political changes. Coins like the 20-cent piece were essential for everyday transactions, from purchasing groceries to paying for bus fares. The composition of the coin was 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it a silver-like appearance while ensuring durability for decades of circulation. With a weight of 11.31 grams and a diameter of 28.65 millimeters, the 20-cent coin was among the largest denominations in the pocket change of Australians, making it both practical and memorable in daily life. The platypus on the reverse was not chosen randomly. It carried symbolic weight. The animal represents Australia's uniqueness and adaptability, a creature that defied scientific categorization when first discovered. In this sense, the coin stood as a small ambassador of Australia's identity, reflecting how the nation saw itself as proudly distinct yet firmly established in the modern world. For collectors, the 1974 20-cent coin does not immediately appear rare, as millions were minted. However, its historical significance grows from the fact that it belongs to the early period of decimalization, when Australians were still adjusting from pounds, shillings, and pence to the new system of dollars and cents. Coins from these years carry sentimental and educational value. The obverse portrait by Arnold Machin would remain on Australian coins until the mid-1980s, when it was replaced by another effigy by Raphael Maclauff. Thus, the 1974 20-cent coin belongs to the Machin effigy era, a period that collectors often categorize separately when building comprehensive sets of Elizabeth II coinage. In circulation, the 20-cent coin was one of the most useful denominations. While the 1-cent and 2-cent coins were often too small for practical purchases and the 50-cent coin too large, the 20-cent piece was perfectly balanced, widely used for vending machines, public telephones, and everyday market trade. Its utility cemented its place in the public imagination. 1974 was also a year of political drama in Australia. Prime Minister Gough Whitlam was navigating economic and social reforms while facing increasing challenges. Everyday citizens, however, experienced these changes through tangible things like wages, prices, and coins. The 20-cent coin, clinking in their purses and pockets, carried the face of their monarch and the symbol of their nation. Over the years, many 1974 coins have naturally worn down due to circulation. Finding one in pristine condition is increasingly rare, and collectors often seek uncirculated or proof-like examples to preserve the beauty of Devlin's design. While circulated coins might only be worth face value, high-grade pieces can fetch much higher premiums. Another interesting aspect of this coin is its role in Australia's growing numismatic community. By the 1970s, coin collecting had become a popular hobby, and the release of each year's coinage was closely followed. Sets containing the 1974 20-cent coin were packaged by the Royal Australian Mint for collectors, ensuring that some examples would survive in untouched condition. Globally, coins like the 1974 20-cent were part of a broader Commonwealth tradition. The same portrait of Elizabeth II was being used on Canadian, New Zealand, and Caribbean coins, creating a sense of unity among nations under the crown. Yet, Australia's reverse designs, featuring its native animals, set its coinage apart as uniquely Australian. The size and weight of the coin also had practical implications. Its substantial feel made it difficult to lose, and its distinct sound when dropped or jingled in a pocket became part of the soundtrack of Australian life. Even children of the 1970s remember using the 20-cent coin for sweets, toys, and school lunches, embedding it in the cultural memory. Over time, inflation would slowly reduce the purchasing power of the coin, but in 1974 it held significant value. 20 cents could buy a loaf of bread, a ride on public transport, or a handful of sweets. This purchasing power makes the coin a marker of economic history, showing how far Australia's currency has evolved. For modern collectors and historians, the 1974 20-cent coin is an object of study that combines artistry, economics, and history. Its relatively simple design hides a wealth of meaning, from the monarchy's presence in everyday life to the pride in Australia's native fauna. It tells a story of a nation balancing tradition and modernity. Although millions were minted, the allure of the 1974 coin lies not in rarity, but in nostalgia. Each coin passed through countless hands, carrying with it the silent stories of ordinary Australians. It witnessed daily life, transactions at corner shops, bus conductors issuing change, and families saving coins in jars for future needs. Today, collectors searching for the 1974 20-cent coin often look for high-grade specimens, error coins, or those preserved in mint sets. Errors, such as off-center strikes or clip planchets, can transform an ordinary coin into a highly desirable collectible worth many times its face value. These rare varieties add excitement to the hunt. In conclusion, the 1974 Australian 20-cent Elizabeth II coin is a blend of artistry, history, and cultural memory. From the regal portrait of the Queen to the playful platypus that graces its reverse, it embodies the spirit of Australia in the 1970s. More than just currency, it is a small but enduring piece of heritage, connecting present-day collectors to the nation's past. Next up, the 1978 Australian 20-cent coin is one of those pieces of currency that may appear ordinary to the casual eye, but carries with it decades of heritage and cultural significance. Struck during the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, this coin is part of Australia's decimal currency system, which had been introduced just over a decade earlier in 1966. By 1978, the system had firmly taken root in everyday life, and the 20-cent coin had become one of the most essential denominations in circulation. On the obverse side, the coin features the effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, created by sculptor Arnold Machin. This particular portrait is known as the Machin bust, and it was used on Australian coins from 1966 until 1984. It portrays the Queen with a youthful yet dignified appearance, wearing a tiara, a symbol of both continuity with the monarchy and a touch of elegance. The reverse side of the coin depicts one of Australia's most fascinating native animals, the platypus. Designed by Stuart Devlin, a master craftsman and artist, the platypus design was selected to highlight the uniqueness of Australia's wildlife. Its sleek lines and sense of movement make it one of the most striking and enduring designs in the country's coinage. The coin was minted in cupronickel alloy, a combination of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This gave it both durability and a bright silvery appearance that could withstand years of circulation. With a diameter of 28.65 millimeters and a weight of 11.31 grams, the 20-cent coin was the largest and heaviest of the circulating decimal coins below the 50-cent piece. By 1978, Australia's economy was in transition, facing challenges such as inflation, global energy crises, and domestic political shifts. Despite these economic pressures, coins like the 20-cent piece remained stable, practical, and trusted in daily transactions, serving as a familiar constant in the lives of ordinary Australians. The platypus design chosen for the reverse was symbolic. The animal, with its duck-like bill, webbed feet, and ability to live both on land and in water, represents adaptability and uniqueness, qualities Australians often identified with. Through this design, the coin reflected the country's pride in its distinct natural heritage. The 1978 20-cent coin was produced in very large numbers for circulation by the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra. As such, it is not considered a rare coin in general terms. Millions were struck and distributed across the country, passing through countless hands in shops, markets, and households. However, the abundance of circulation meant that most of these coins have experienced heavy wear over time. Finding a 1978 20-cent coin in pristine, uncirculated condition is much rarer and therefore prized by collectors. The shine of a freshly struck piece reveals the full beauty of Devlin's platypus design and Machin's portrait of the Queen. From a numismatic perspective, the coin represents a part of the Machin portrait era. Collectors often build complete sets of Australian coins categorized by the effigy used, making the 1978 piece a necessary inclusion in any serious collection spanning the 1970s. In terms of daily use, the coin played an important role in the financial habits of Australians. It was often used for small but meaningful purchases such as snacks, transport fares, and children's treats. In 1978, 20 cents still carried significant purchasing power, reminding us of how inflation has changed the value of money over time. The design consistency of the coin also gave Australians a sense of stability. Since its introduction in 1966, the platypus reverse had remained unchanged, creating familiarity and recognition. This sense of continuity was especially valuable during the politically and economically turbulent years of the 1970s. For school children and young collectors in the late 1970s, the 20-cent coin was often a gateway into the hobby of numismatics. Its large size and attractive design made it a favorite to keep aside in albums or jars. Thus, the coin not only served as money, but also inspired a generation of collectors. The coin's durability meant that many 1978 pieces are still found in circulation today, over 4 decades later. Although most are worn, Their survival is a testament to the strength of the cupronickel alloy and the practical craftsmanship of the Royal Australian Mint. In the international context, the 1978 Australian 20-cent coin connects Australia with the broader Commonwealth, since the same portrait of Queen Elizabeth II appeared on coins from Canada, New Zealand, and several Caribbean nations. Yet the distinctive platypus design set Australia apart, giving its coins a uniquely national identity. For collectors, the value of the 1978 20-cent coin depends heavily on condition. Circulated examples are typically worth face value, but high-grade, uncirculated specimens can command higher prices. Error coins from this year, such as off-center strikes, clip planchets, or double strikes, are especially sought after, sometimes fetching significant premiums. Culturally, the coin is a time capsule of 1970s Australia. It carries the memory of a society that balanced tradition with modernization, holding onto the monarchy while embracing its own unique symbols. It is a coin that reminds Australians of their daily lives in the late 20th century, a tangible link to a specific era. Even though millions were minted, the 1978 coin holds nostalgic value. It recalls a time when children collected coins in piggy banks, families saved change in jars, and coins had a purchasing power far greater than they do today. Each coin silently witnessed countless personal stories of the people who used it. Today, coin enthusiasts still search for the 1978 20-cent coin in rolls, collections, and circulation. The joy lies not only in finding a shiny, uncirculated example, but also in appreciating the artistry, history, and meaning behind what may seem like an everyday piece of metal. In conclusion, the 1978 Australian 20-cent Elizabeth II coin is more than currency. It is a historical artifact. With the youthful portrait of the Queen on one side and the playful platypus on the other, it embodies both heritage and national pride. Though common in numbers, its cultural, historical, and artistic value ensures that it remains a cherished part of Australia's coinage legacy. Next up, the 1981 Australian 20-cent coin may seem like just another circulating piece of currency, but its story is richer than most people imagine. Behind its design, production, and usage lies a fascinating tale of a nation still shaping its decimal coinage identity, balancing the image of monarchy with the symbols of its unique natural world. On the obverse, the coin features the effigy of Queen Elizabeth II. This portrait was designed by the acclaimed British sculptor Arnold Machin, who created an image of the Queen wearing a tiara, youthful yet dignified. His design was used on Australian coins from the introduction of decimal currency in 1966 until it was replaced in 1985 by the Raphael Maklauf portrait. The reverse of the coin, designed by Stuart Devlin, depicts the platypus, one of the most extraordinary creatures native to Australia. With its duck-like bill, webbed feet, and aquatic grace, the platypus symbolized both Australia's uniqueness and its connection to the natural world. Devlin's design captured the sense of motion and fluidity, giving life to the coin's surface. The 1981 20-cent coin was struck in cupronickel, a durable alloy made up of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This ensured the coin could withstand years of circulation while maintaining its silvery sheen. The coin weighed 11.31 grams and measured 28.65 millimeters in diameter, making it one of the largest and heaviest coins in everyday Australian pockets. One of the most interesting aspects of the 1981 issue is that coins were not only minted at the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra, but also under contract at overseas mints to meet demand. These included the Royal Mint in London, UK, the Royal Canadian Mint in Ottawa, Canada, and the Royal Mint in Wales. Each mint struck coins to the same specifications, but subtle differences exist that collectors sometimes look for. This outsourcing of production in 1981 reflects the immense demand for Australian coinage at the time. The population was growing, the economy was expanding, and circulation needs were high. Instead of overloading the Canberra Mint, contracts were made abroad, adding an international layer to the coin's history. For collectors, This means that the 1981 20-cent coin exists with minor varieties, depending on its mint of origin. Although visually very similar, slight differences in strike quality, die finish, or even edge detail can sometimes reveal which mint produced a given coin. These subtle distinctions can make collecting 1981 coins more exciting. In daily life, the 20-cent coin was an essential denomination in 1981 Australia. It was widely used for transport fares, pay phones, small grocery purchases, and everyday exchanges. Its size made it easy to recognize, and its purchasing power meant it was one of the most frequently handled coins in circulation. The purchasing power of 20 cents in 1981 was significant compared to today. At that time, a loaf of bread might cost around 50 cents, meaning that a single 20-cent coin contributed meaningfully to daily needs. This highlights how inflation has changed the value of money over the decades. The coin also carried symbolic meaning. The Queen's effigy connected Australians to the Commonwealth and its traditions, while the platypus design highlighted the nation's individuality and independence. It was a duality, loyalty to heritage and pride in uniqueness, that defined much of Australia's national identity during the late 20th century. By 1981, decimal currency had been in use for 15 years, and Australians had fully adapted to it. The older pounds, shillings, and pence were long gone from circulation. The 20-cent coin had become a familiar and trusted part of people's lives, cementing its place as one of the most practical coins in the system. The 1981 issue was struck in extremely large numbers, meaning it is not a rare coin in general terms. However, the fact that it was produced in multiple mints makes certain varieties more collectible. Uncirculated examples, especially those from mint sets or proof issues, hold much higher value among numismatists. The Mackin portrait on the obverse was nearing the end of its use in 1981. Within just a few years, it would be replaced by the Raphael Maklauf effigy, making coins from the early 1980s the closing chapter of the Mackin portrait era. Collectors often group these coins as a distinct phase in Elizabeth II's numismatic history. Culturally, the 20-cent coin carried immense everyday value. Many Australians recall saving 20-cent coins in jars, children using them for sweets or arcade machines, and families relying on them for vending machines and public telephones. These small but powerful memories give the coin an emotional connection beyond its face value. Error coins from 1981 also exist, such as off-center strikes, broad strikes, or clip planchets. These rare mistakes occurred during the minting process and can turn an ordinary 20-cent piece into a highly prized collectible. Such errors are often worth many times more than the standard coin. The longevity of the coin is another point of fascination. Even today, many 1981 20-cent coins remain in circulation, though usually well-worn. This demonstrates the durability of the alloy and the practicality of the design. For collectors, however, coins in mint condition are much harder to find. The year 1981 itself was significant for Australia. It was a time of social and economic change, with new directions in politics, culture, and industry. The coins of this year, including the 20-cent piece, quietly served as everyday witnesses to these transformations, linking the personal lives of citizens to the broader sweep of history. For modern numismatists, the 1981 20-cent coin is a reminder that even common coins can carry stories of global minting partnerships, design continuity, and cultural meaning. Its value lies not in scarcity, but in the richness of its background and the role it played in the everyday economy of the early 1980s. In conclusion, the 1981 Australian 20-cent Elizabeth II coin is a fascinating piece of numismatic history. Featuring the timeless Mackin portrait on the obverse and Devlin's dynamic platypus on the reverse. Struck in both Australian and overseas mints, it represents durability, heritage, and identity. Though common in circulation, in high grades and with varieties, it remains a cherished collectible, an enduring symbol of Australia's coinage story. Next up, the 1982 Australian 20-cent coin may appear like an ordinary piece of change, but in reality, it holds a special place in the story of Australian coinage. It represents the continuity of a design that had by then become iconic, while also standing as a symbol of a nation in transition, socially, culturally, and economically. The obverse of the coin bears the effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by British sculptor Arnold Machin. Known as the Machin portrait, this design was used on Australian coins from 1966 to 1984. It presents a young yet regal queen, wearing a tiara with calm dignity. For many Australians of the era, this was the face they grew up seeing in their pockets and purses. The reverse side, designed by Stuart Devlin, features the platypus. Devlin, often called the goldsmith of Australia, was tasked with designing the decimal coinage introduced in 1966. His choice of the platypus for the 20-cent coin was deliberate. It is one of Australia's most unusual and beloved native creatures, embodying both mystery and adaptability for. The 1982 20-cent coin was struck in cupronickel alloy, composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel. It weighed 11.31 grams and measured 28.65 millimeters in diameter, making it one of the largest circulating coins in the decimal series. Its size and weight gave a satisfying presence, easy to recognize by touch alone. By 1982, the 20-cent coin had been in circulation for 16 years. It was a well-established denomination, used daily for bus fares, snacks, newspapers, and countless small purchases. Its value at the time was still significant, far greater than what 20 cents could buy in the present day. The Royal Australian Mint in Canberra struck millions of these coins for circulation in 1982. However, this year is particularly interesting for collectors because it also saw the release of a special commemorative 50-cent coin celebrating the Commonwealth Games in Brisbane. While the 20-cent coin itself was not commemorative, it still participated in the broader numismatic landscape of that year. The 1982 issue belongs to what collectors call the Machin portrait era, which ended just 2 years later when the Raphael Makhlouf effigy was introduced in 1985. This makes the 1982 coin one of the final chapters in the long-running Machin portrait series. Although millions were minted, high-grade, uncirculated examples of the 1982 20-cent coin are always sought after. Coins released in mint sets and proof sets are particularly prized, as they were preserved in pristine condition, unlike circulation coins that endured decades of handling and wear. Interestingly, coins from the early 1980s, including 1982, were sometimes minted at overseas mints under contract, especially during times of high demand. While most 1982 20-cent coins were struck at the Canberra Mint, some varieties can carry subtle differences that intrigue specialist collectors. In terms of design, Stuart Devlin's platypus is a masterpiece of simplicity and elegance. The creature appears to be gliding through water, surrounded by ripples, capturing motion in stillness. For many Australians, this image is inseparable from the memory of childhood coin collections and pocket change. The coin size also made it popular with vending machines and payphones of the era. In fact, during the 1970s and 1980s, the 20-cent coin was among the most frequently used coins in public telephones, giving it a unique role in communication history. In 1982, Australia was experiencing social and political changes, with economic challenges such as inflation and unemployment shaping daily life. Yet in the midst of these shifts, coins like the 20-cent piece provided stability and familiarity, serving as silent witnesses to the times. For children in 1982, the 20-cent coin was often used for small treats, arcade games, or toys from vending machines. It carried with it a sense of joy and accessibility, becoming more than just currency, but also a small token of fun and freedom. Numismatics today study the 1982 20-cent coin not only for its role in circulation, but also for its condition and varieties. Error coins from this year, such as off-center strikes, double strikes, or clip planchets, are particularly valuable as they represent rare minting mishaps that survive quality control. While circulated 1982 coins are generally only worth face value, uncirculated examples and error coins can fetch higher prices. Proof coins, which were specially struck with polished dies for collectors, remain highly desirable, often displaying mirror-like finishes that bring Devlin's platypus to life. Culturally, the 1982 coin represents continuity. It was part of a generation of coins that every Australian alive at the time would have handled daily. The Queen's portrait tied the nation to its Commonwealth heritage, while the platypus affirmed Australia's uniqueness. Together, they symbolized a balance between tradition and individuality. Even though millions survive, the 1982 20-cent coin remains significant because it reflects an era. Each coin is a small time capsule, carrying the weight of Australian life in the early 1980s. For some, it sparks memories of school days. For others, it recalls the Brisbane Commonwealth Games and the excitement of national events. Today, collectors continue to include the 1982 coin in complete year sets, appreciating it as part of a larger historical narrative. Its true value lies not in rarity, but in the story it tells about design, economy, and everyday life. It is a reminder that even ordinary coins can hold extraordinary meaning when viewed through the lens of history. In conclusion, the 1982 Australian 20-cent Elizabeth II coin is a durable and iconic piece of currency, carrying both the beauty of Stuart Devlin's artistry and the dignity of Arnold Mackin's portrait. More than just money, it is a piece of heritage, an enduring link to Australia's economic, cultural, and numismatic story of the early 1980s.